watching Shalom TV, celebrating Jewish culture. Funding for Shalom TV has been provided by the following. And by viewers like you.
JDC is about people. In Israel and around the world, we are the lifeline to our brethren in need. We ensure a Jewish future for our people.
I think JDC's greatest ability is to be able to respond and to respond immediately. And having the vision to know where things are going is what makes JDC a very special organization.
I believe that the work that we do is sacred work.
Equally important, we're reconnecting thousands of Jews to their heritage and are helping young Jews discover an identity they never knew they had.
All of Israel is responsible for one another. We are truly one people, that we are responsible to help and nurture impoverished Jews and to assist and sustain vulnerable communities, no matter where in the world they might be.
As Jews, the concept of tikkun olam, repairing the world, helps define us as a people. JDC has been at the forefront in bringing assistance to people in need.
I think we're giving hope, and we're giving help.
For over 80 years, the Jewish Agency has served as the link between the Jewish people and the State of Israel, working to ensure the future of a connected, committed, global Jewish people with a strong Israel at its center. We helped build the state and brought over 3 million Jews to Israel. Today, as we continue to bring more olim and stand ready to act as the Jewish world's first responder in crises, both in Israel and around the world, the Jewish Agency is focusing on the greatest challenge we face as a people, strengthening Jewish identity. To that end, we work to inspire Jews throughout the world to connect with their people, heritage, and land, and empower them to build a thriving Jewish future and a strong Israel. The Jewish Agency pursues this mission by forging a strong connection with Israel through a sequence of Israel experiences for teens and young adults. From Birthright's short visit to Israel, to Masah's live and learn in Israel for 5 months to a year, through to Aliyah, for those who choose to make Israel their home. And by engaging young Jews from Israel and around the world in social activism, we strengthen both their Jewish identity and their connection to one another. Working together in partnership with you, the Jewish Agency for Israel is securing our Jewish future with a strong Israel at its center for generations to come.
Please welcome the chairman of the executive of the Jewish Agency for Israel, Natan Sharansky.
Dear friends, Katie Manning, Michael Gellerman, Jerry Silverman, the family of our Prime Minister, who I see is already here. Dear friends, it's really a big pride to represent our great organizations, Jewish Agency, federations, joined. But let's also think about the challenges which we are facing today. All our history consists of a combination of external and internal challenges. We always fought enemies externally, and at the same time, we fought among ourselves. Thousands of years ago, when the powerful Roman army encircled Jerusalem, we inside Jerusalem were debating about who is a better Jew. Thousands of years later, when our enemies are trying to delegitimize the Jewish state, we still continue the same debate. I have to say that the debate, sometimes very heated, between us, very different groups of very assertive people, is not always counterproductive. Look at the example of Soviet Jewry struggle, which today looks like one united, victorious movement. 30 years ago, there were so many groups fighting each other on the issues whether to have public or quiet diplomacy, whether we should link our struggle to the universal struggle of human rights or we should not, whether we should fight for Jews only going to Israel or they should have a free choice. But in the end, it was this variety of organizations, establishment, grassroots, religious, secular, professional, which connected the struggle with all the Jewish people and united all of them to one aim. But the problem is much bigger when there is one organization with one purpose that includes people whose worldview doesn't necessarily take them to the same goal. That was the genius of Ben-Gurion, who 81 years ago succeeded to put together big parts of world Jewry at one global Jewish table of Jewish agency, and united those who were called then Zionists and who were called then non-Zionists, to one aim to support the emerging state of the Jewish people in the land of Israel. And it worked well. 3 million Jews were brought to Israel. Just now you heard some of the stories of the last great examples of Aliyah. And I hope, by the way, that in the few years to come, we'll finish great page of bringing the last thousands of remnants of Ethiopian Jewry. At the same time, 900 cities, towns, and moshavim were built through the effort of world Jewry through Jewish agency. But with the time, the more Israel was turning from poor, defenseless relative into a successful startup nation. And the more Jews in diaspora live in the free world and not in persecution, the more this inner conflict comes to the surface. There are voices which say, doesn't Aliyah weaken our communities, which are becoming weaker anyway? And on the other side we hear, isn't the idea of strengthening Jewish communities betraying the idea of Aliyah? For an organization which is the global Jewish table of Israel and diaspora, this can be a schizophrenic nightmare. The situation has changed dramatically in the last few years. It changed because, on one hand, American Jewry, and after it world Jewry, discovered that in the situation when they face global assimilation, shrinking Jewish communities, and they urgently need to strengthen Jewish identity of the young generation, there is no better way to do it than to connect them to Israel. On the other hand, Israeli leaders clearly see in this campaign of delegitimization that we have no better ally than the world Jewry, and that's why it is important to invest in their strength. And that is why strengthening one Jewish people by connecting them to their heritage, to their communities, and to their state becomes one answer to the challenge of shrinking Jewish communities, of delegitimization of Israel, and of continued Aliyah. This is the essence of the idea of the new strategic plan of Jaffe. This strategic plan was built together with you, our partners, and with the government of Israel. A few days ago, after the approval of this plan by the Board of Governors of Jewish Agency, this plan was brought to discussion with the Prime Minister. As we were in the middle of presenting the central idea of expanding and connecting different platforms of Israeli experience, Lapid, birthrights, Masa, summer camps, involving our emissaries on the campuses and different communities to this project. While we were discussing it, one minister present voiced strong criticism about it, saying, aren't you replacing real challenges of Aliyah by spending government funds on bringing American Jewish children for tourism? The Prime Minister let me respond and then added response of his own. He said, as a politician, one must understand that keeping your base is the first rule of political life. And for the Prime Minister of the Jewish state, the Jewish people are his political base. Dear friends, last night my wife Avital addressed the Prime Minister's Council dinner on the occasion of the 20th anniversary of Operation Exodus. I must confess that I learned a lot from her speech. I was reminded where all the big ideas in our family come from. When she told her story, she reminded me, and I hope many of those who heard her, how we Jews in the former Soviet Union and Jews all over the world, step by step, we are discovering one another. And we are discovering that we are part of a much bigger and more exciting story of the Jewish people. And how this discovery of our common identity inspired us, connected us, and empowered us, and gave us a lot of strength to fight on both sides of the ocean and to win. But okay, about our victory in Soviet Jewry, we can be very happy. But it also reminded me one of the first pieces of advice which I received from Avital when we were reunited in Israel after 12 years of separation. She said to me, there are many good Jewish organizations, and they all mean well. They will all try to mobilize you. Don't rush to join any one of them. Continue our struggle and cooperate with everyone. Today, when I can no longer hide the fact that I am part of the Jewish establishment, I believe I am true to this advice by believing, as I think all of you believe, that our loyalty is not to our organization, but rather our loyalty is to our people, to our efforts to strengthen our identities, to build strong Jewish communities connected to strong Israel. Let's make sure that our wonderful organizations, Jewish Federations of North America, Jewish Agency, JDC, are serving this aim in the most powerful way. Am Yisrael Chai.